Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to YACC, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is North, and it was released in 2018, developed by Outlands and published by Sometimes You, and there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know. But first, a little backstory. I played another game from Sometimes You called In the Rays of the Light, and that game was set in like an apocalyptic kind of situation. You don't really know what's been happening to the world around you, and this game has like a very nice vibe to it, and it drew me in, and that's about it. That's why I'm playing it this week. So this game starts with a flying shot of a saturated landscape. If you have seen the end of 2001, where there's like a helicopter shot and the colors are over-exaggerated and inverted somehow, it looks like that, like a fantastical kind of landscape, maybe a desert or a sunrise or something. And this background is backed up by a backing track of a synth. And it's really nice. It reminds me somewhat of Blade Runner. And then a white text pop up saying North. And then it sets the bar really high, by the way, and from here it's just downhill, unfortunately. So a man arrives at a city in the north, and he has... The way this game works is that you do stuff and you send letters back to your sister that lives in the south. And this is like an apocalyptic setting also, a bit like Blade Runner or like something from Philip K. Dick's books, where basically in the south everybody is sick and there's disease and it's basically like a desert. So this man has arrived in the north in a city, and he everything is strange to him, alien, and you also soon find out why. So you enter like a building which is just marked with home, and there are 3 different brown alien characters in it. One is lying on a mattress, another one is just against the wall, and another one is looking at pictures at the wall. So this is already strange to begin with. There are photos on the floor and images of very strange imagery, like a dissecting of an eye and weird black and white photos. And there's like a hole in the brick wall that reveals the city, and there's some weird geometrical lights, and you can turn on a radio, and if you try to talk to them, they're not responsive, or at least the one that's looking at the photos. He can kind of talk, but you don't understand what he's saying. So whenever you interact with something, a little letter flashes in the left corner. That signals that you can send a letter to your sister and tell about the crazy stuff that has been happening. So you leave the room, go back into the street, and it's like a dark street with lampposts and whatnot. You can post a letter to your sister, and that's how you progress, because you write about what happened. And so I did some exploring. This game, to me, looks like an early Half-Life mod. If someone was trying out like adding models and stuff, so it looks like a beginner's game. And I was so hyped because the introduction set the bar real high, and I was like, what is this? This is crap. But anyway, I did some exploring, and I went to a place called the church. And I went inside, and it's like a white room filled with black figures and a red eye in the distance. So when you get close to the eye, you can kind of convert or something, but it doesn't work, so you get thrown out of the room. So this becomes like a part of the game later on, because you have to unlock certain story elements to get the main story, I guess. So the main character actually wants to start to work at an asylum, and I don't know if he's one of the inmates or actually someone who went up in the as a ward or whatever. But anyway, you go to this place called Work, and it's this bizarre imagery. Like, it's when you enter the room, it's full of like machines and pipes, and the ground is covered with sand, and there's like a creature in a bath, and when you hover over it, like look at it, it says like the monster, and it's like, okay, I don't get it at all. And later you find some like containers of valves. You get like a thing called the speed, and this is used for the puzzle that's coming up when you actually go. Oh, this is gonna sound so crazy, but you cross like a churchyard, a graveyard, and you enter like a room, and then the speed starts to work up. So you have to activate 3 YACC hammers, and I did it. Oh, this is so terrible because I died so many times at this stage. The soundtrack picks up, and you run. In order to turn off you just turn off these jack machines, whatever, and you pick up an egg. So it's just a little time window that you have to actually pick these up. So it's kind of crazy how how they expect you to like actually do these things. So once you collect these eggs, you can feed it to the monster, and the room changed color from a reddish orange to a light blue one. And now you can go out to the streets again, and you can go to the police station. You take an elevator, and this is like a weird thing because they look like meat sacks. Two things standing in the elevator. I don't think you can interact with them. You just push like a number on the elevator and you go down. It's like a Lovecraft kind of meets alien horror thing. This city is strange, I guess. So you end up at the police station and you are supposed to take a test. And there's like TV screens and you're supposed to activate. There's like a green button or a red button. And I couldn't figure this out. I looked up like a YouTube video and I still don't know how to get past this stage. It's like you have to push a button and the text said like recognized. It is like different imagery, black and white movies and children playing on different monitors. Really weird. And I did as the YouTube video instructed, like I pushed the button and it recognized. And once I've done all the TVs, I got like the screen kind of faded to black and it said it like guilt. And I was like, what? Did I do something wrong? And the game just ended. So I looked up a playthrough of this, and this game is supposed to take like an hour to complete, and it's very cryptical and really weird. And I'm sort of disappointed how it turned out because the only neat thing about this game is the soundtrack, and I couldn't really find any like thing backing up. I couldn't find actually the guy who composed the thing, and it's really weird. The only thing that's really cool about this as I said, is like the intro sequence and the music. So gameplay. Get a job at the asylum and traverse the strange world of the north. Control, X interacts, the left stick moves the character around, and the right stick is basically look around. And this is the big problem with this game. The look control is inverted, and there is no pause menu or options menu to speak of, so it makes or breaks the game. So in this case, it actually breaks it. I don't like that you can't change these smaller things. But anyway, it's a cheap game, so what do you expect? Graphics. It was made in the Unity engine, and the intro sequence is the really cool thing about it, like how they made it. It's like a sci-fi kind of Blade Runner inspired synth track, and it has this beautiful background. But as the game progresses, it's like, they just took it basically looks like a Half-Life 2 mod or Half-Life 1 mod even, and they just pops in some models and they make a basic rudimentary kind of graphical city. And I actually fell through the geometry when I was going to the church part, and I was like, okay, this is not finished. So I don't know. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just like that. Sound and music, it has a dark synth pop kind of feel to it. And I looked around, and this game doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. So I was like, okay, whatever. I go to the developers site, and the cool thing about it, you can get this soundtrack on cassette. There was no information on who actually made the soundtrack. None whatsoever. And I was like, that's the good thing about the game. Why would you not post the name of the composer? I mean, I bet he's done more cool synth tracks, and that's the good thing about this game. I can't really stop talking about it. The music is excellent. So I don't know what that's about. Easter eggs, secrets, and glitches. There are none. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything, and so I just move on to that. So in conclusion, I wrote no. It's an interesting idea, a premise, like this apocalyptic kind of world, and you don't really know what happened to this guy traversing the wasteland, and how there will be a more interesting thing, like what happened to his sister and this guy called Eric. Are they going to survive? Or how did he even traverse? How did he make it to the city? That's the interesting part. The city itself is weird. Really weird. And this game could have been so much better. I don't know. Negative things about it, the inverted look. I don't know. It breaks everything. It's like when I was doing the jackhammer part, when you have to collect the eggs, the control is inverted and you have to look down at the consoles to turn the jackhammer off so you can grab the eggs. And you're so pressed on time. So I just, in all this frenzy running, and then, have to control, and you do it invertly. It's like, oh, well, you died. Well, thank you. Then I have to do it again, just because I'm so used to like pushing the stick forward makes me look down, and pushing it backwards makes me look. If it's inverted, my brain can't work invertedly, I guess. So I can't really recommend this game. It had a great thing going for it. It was cheap, but it wasn't really my cup of tea in the end. And I was like, well, it was cheap, and I'm not going to play it again. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.